Are you familiar with the Misogi ritual? The notion around the Misogi is you do something so hard once a year that has an impact on the other 365 days of the year. It has its roots in traveling long distances and sitting underneath an icy waterfall until everything you have to do becomes clear. You're on a journey to build wealth and build a life that you're proud of, and by the end of this video, you'll learn how to cut that time in half. Here are 15 powerful secrets to accelerate your progress in life. Welcome to A-Lux. Don't help anyone, help yourself. This is counterintuitive to what everyone else is preaching, but everyone who built anything was selfish in their first few years. This early, you don't have enough resources to share, so you've got to use every single drop to further yourself. You haven't learned how to swim just yet, so don't go out there trying to save people from drowning left and right. Don't help anyone else. Get your hands on enough fuel to jumpstart your own life, and you'll figure everything else out later. Once you arrive, show them how you got there, but until you find some breathing room, it's everyone for themselves. Don't tell anyone, work when no one is looking. They don't have to know. Their opinion is irrelevant. Unless they've successfully done what you plan on doing, they don't need to know because there's no advice they can give you that has true value for you. This is your journey, your vision, and your dream. You wouldn't have a desire or a dream unless it was within your power to make it real. So don't dilute the dream, keep it for yourself and to yourself. Sharing it with others might trick your brain into believing the work is already done, and you'll lose the hunger to actually go after it. That's why you know people who've been telling you for the past 5 years about the business they're going to start next week. You've learned enough, now do. Let's get this straight, okay? Unless we're talking about practical step-by-step tutorials, everything else is basically entertainment. This video you're watching right now only has value if after you're done watching, something gets done. If you're one of those people who keeps watching these kinds of videos without putting in any real practice, at least be honest with yourself. You're disguising entertainment as education. At the stage you're at right now, you'll actually learn more by doing than by consuming, so shift the ratio. Instead of 80 to 90% consumption and only 10% of doing, well, spend 90% of your time toying in the practicalities of your business or craft. You're smart enough to know the growth you're after is hidden in consistency. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you conquer. Life is never going to be fair, especially to people like us who don't start as high up on the mountain as others. But the peak is something you have to conquer on your own. Success waits on the other side of you conquering the situation that you start from. One of the most powerful lessons we've learned comes from the only billionaire comedian, Seinfeld, who put it beautifully when he said, "Your blessings in life will come to you once you find the torture you're comfortable with." Think about that for as long as you need to find your torture. Once you do find it, accept it as the torture that you'll put up with for the rest of your life because you know if you keep at it, it'll take you to the promised land. Make yourself rich first, then figure out everything else. Everyone wants to be everything all at once. Yeah, we just referenced the movie again. You want to get in shape, you want to travel the world, have a hot partner, read books, write a book, write a movie, spend time with friends, build a business, do charity work, you know the rest, you're probably thinking about it right now. The reason why you should follow the money first is getting rich first allows you to do the rest of them in peace. It's hard to give it your all on anything else if you don't know if you're going to be able to make rent. And while finding peace is a worthwhile pursuit, the road to wealth actually comes with a roadmap that's quite easy to follow. It'll take you less time to get rich than it will to find peace, so you might as well get it over with. This is why for the first year in the A-Lux app, we prioritize your finances. Once you double or triple your income, you open up time and resources to go after everything else. Go to alux.com/app, download it, and go through the principles of building wealth pack by either buying it directly or getting a subscription. That's the straightforward recipe to building wealth, condensed and explained so everyone can understand. Time to escape mediocrity and go to alux.com/app. Do it yourself before you ask for help. Some of you aren't making any progress because you're waiting for someone else to open up the door for you, and in some cases, even carry you inside. Some of you have been postponing a couple of tasks for over 6 months now, which if you really sat down and focused on them, you'd be done in 15 to 20 minutes. You will learn nothing from this. The value in doing the work yourself is it allows you to speak the language. You know what to ask for, you know what worked, and how you got there. Especially in your early days, you have to be the one doing everything. Disappear for 6 months and work on only one thing. People on the internet laugh about this phrase because it recently became popular with the under 20-year-old hustlers. Don't worry, we're glad you found self-help, just don't forget to actually help yourselves, okay? If your life isn't what it should be, then what's a 6-month commitment? When we were building EALux.com, our first publishing business, which we eventually scaled to 7 figures, we literally locked ourselves in a room with a laptop writing 3 articles a day for 6 months before things started to kick off. These were summer months when all of our acquaintances were out on some beach paid for by their parents. And we did it because we didn't come from money and we wanted to level the F up. Sure, it felt lonely, but here's what we want you to take away from this. Loneliness is a tax you have to pay to access your next state of being. Some people are so scared of bothering or outshining others that they sacrifice their own potential for mediocrity. Would you be okay living like this for the rest of your life? Well, if not, here's what we want you to do. Think of yourself as dead. This has been your life so far, and now it's over. All right, now wake up and live what's left of it properly. Launch it ugly. The problem is people compare their first step with the last step of others, and the gap is huge. One of the lessons that we've learned from Y Combinator, which has become a staple in the industry, is if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, then you launched too late. Just put it out there and see what happens. Improve on it as you go. Not sure if you've ever done this, but you can literally go onto our channel, click videos, and sort by oldest. Our first video on YouTube is a slideshow of the most expensive restaurants in Dubai, uploaded 9 years ago. It's not pretty, it ain't fancy, but we were toying with the idea of transitioning from articles to video, and it didn't take us long to figure out ways to improve. So launch it now and build it in public. Every time you feel like quitting, picture your haters laughing at you. That should keep you motivated. You've got some people you'd like to prove wrong, don't you? Good. Act as if they're always watching. Some of them probably are. Outside of your haters, you've got your family and friends who, although they mean well, they might actually have the opposite effect. The thing is, the rarer you are, the more rare are the people who are able to see what you see. It's hard to find people like you. They used to laugh when we told them that we would be multimillionaires by 30, and then we did it. Once you do too, you're faced with another dilemma. The greater your success, the fewer the people you'll be able to share your success with. There aren't that many people interested in what you're doing. There's even fewer that were able to succeed at it. Eventually, you get to know everyone. Feeling stuck is a signal that you've stopped growing. You heard that right. There's actually a split here. If you have too many things to do and you don't know what you should do first, well, what you're feeling is anxiety. If you don't know what to do, what you're feeling is sadness or being stuck. The great news is you can stop being sad by figuring out what would be the first step for you to take toward your big goal. Read books, watch videos where people share their personal insights like this one, or even get the damn ALUX app by going to alux.com/app. It's literally the only app specifically designed to help you accelerate the speed of your progress and give you clear, actionable steps to move forward. Your life is cheap because you think investing in yourself is expensive. Allow us to help you resume growth. Get the ALUX app. Stop lying to yourself or to other people. Just because you don't say it out loud doesn't mean it isn't there. The more you avoid the truth, the bigger its impact will be. Inconvenient truths are better than pleasant delusions. You need people to call you on your bull, to tell you to get your shit together. In our experience, more often than not, that person ends up being yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and tell the truth so you know. Be careful around people who claim to be helping but are actually just putting you down. Some people who claim to be brutally honest are more interested in being brutal than in being honest. Learning to differentiate between them is quite a valuable skill. Don't aim to be the best, aim to be yourself. Everybody wants to be the best, right? Ugh, what a terrible way to live. There's only one best, and everyone who isn't the best technically is a loser if you want to go with that binary. So statistically, you can give it your all and go after it every day, only to realize that you're still technically a loser. Now, what if we told you there's actually only one way where you're the absolute winner and nobody can compete with you if only you choose to play a different game? Instead of competing at their game, go all in on yourself. Get really good at the you game. Figure yourself out. Do everything your own way. Nobody can be a better you than you are. We learned this by paying close attention to Miles Davis. He once said, "It took me years to play like myself." Years to play like myself. Man, how powerful is that? It'll take years for you to find your voice, to find your path, and once you do, you'll be uncompetitive with. Nobody in the world is better at being Joe Rogan than Joe Rogan and how everyone else is trying. Nobody in the world is better at being Rick Rubin than Rick Rubin is. Everyone you look up to who's worthy of adulation has actually figured this out. It took a long time, but once they figured out how to play like themselves, it was over, because nobody could compete anymore. Zoomed in, your life is a tragedy. Zoomed out, it's a comedy. Zoomed in, life might be moving too slow, but if you zoom out, you'll realize you've actually made quite a lot of progress. Zoomed in, you might be angry at your partner for something they did. Zoomed out, you realize just how much you actually love them and how big of an impact they've had on you. Learn to adjust your lens as life progresses. It's a phenomenal exercise to keep yourself in check. And speaking of check, move one piece at a time and don't try to jump steps. Many of you live with this idea that you know exactly what needs to happen and success is a linear journey from where you are. I'm sorry, but that's hilarious. Not only is it arrogant, but it's a terrible strategy to think you've got it all figured out. It's like you would sit at a chess match and announce all the moves you plan to make ahead of the game. It takes only one different or unexpected move from your adversary and your entire string of moves becomes irrelevant. That's why smart people play chess, and they play life like it's a game of chess. You move one piece at a time and see what life does. How does life respond to your move? Along the way, you keep your eye on the board of life and make adjustments to your strategy as life moves on its own turn. As with everything in life, the more you play, the better you are at the game, which is why they say freedom is on the other side of discipline. You no longer fight with others because you're focused on your own shit. Have you ever seen anyone happy with their lives start a fight? No, of course you haven't. Angry, poor, and miserable people start fights as a way to deal with whatever horrible thing is happening in their lives. The moment you start to prosper, the moment you focus on growth, you realize your energy is better spent elsewhere. People are energy vampires. They think the only way to get rid of the smell of shit on them is to rub it onto you, so let them keep it, okay? You don't want anything to do with that. As you're listening to this, you immediately think of someone who does this, don't you? Who just wants to argue instead of actually dealing with their problems. This season of your life is focused on you, so act like it, okay? Now, which of these powerful secrets will you apply immediately? Let us know in the comments. And as for the truly loyal Alexers, we've of course got a bonus waiting. Big goals take time, so brace yourself. It's gonna be a long journey. Whatever small goal you have in life right now, if you're obsessed with it, you will eventually attain it. And then you're faced with something that we're dealing with right now. Do I stay here, or do I go for some bigger goal? If you love the game, and you wouldn't watch these videos if you didn't, you will set bigger and bigger goals for yourself, or you will eventually find purpose in growth. The realization happens when it becomes clear just how big some goals are. Even though we started from zero, for us, getting to our first million was a lot easier than getting to 100 million has proven to be. You can get to 1 million with a small team that shares your hunger and brute force and hard work, but 100 million requires more complex mechanics, which puts into perspective our goal of getting to 1 billion. There are only 2,640 billionaires in the world, out of 8 billion people. That's why most of them look like Warren Buffett or Soros. It takes a lot of time for all that compounding to work. Very few of them get to 1 billion in their 30s. The ALUX app has the potential to completely change education as we know it, and if executed right, we believe we have a shot at making this a billion-dollar company. And the investment banks that we met with last month, well, they also think that we have a shot. But we might need to start charging what the app is worth. So if you're a true ALUXer, please get the app now by going to alux.com/app and get yourself a yearly subscription for $99 now before the next pricing update comes into effect and things get a lot more expensive. This heads up is our way of saying thank you. Toward the end of July or early August, version 2.0 is coming out, and it's going to be a game changer. If you've at least downloaded the app onto your phone, please write the words ALUX app in the comments. Let's see how many of you have made it to the actual end of the video. A big thank you to those who are still here.